Hey again everybody, Cidious StarCraft here for another StarCraft 2 commentary. Here we have the Zelnaga Caverns one more time, and it's going to be Protoss versus Zerg. Up here in the top right corner you can see myself playing as the red Protoss player. On my left we have the blue Zerg Chromo. Now I did particularly like this match, it was pretty good altogether. Chrono is a great player. And this ultimately ended up being a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it and wanted to cast it before. Got too late. Got work early in the morning. Yes, unfortunately I have a real job other than playing StarCraft like some people do. Maybe one day I'll be good enough, or popular enough I should say, to actually play this as my full-time job like some people do. I am, of course, still working on that tournament. Do have another preliminary, if I can pronounce it correctly, round tomorrow. Hopefully it works out well for me. So far I'm doing pretty good. I'm not going to tell you my exact score, but so far so good. So hopefully it continues to work out well for me. Now let's get to the match at hand here. Of course, I'm going to be walling off here. Again, I'm going up against Zerg player. I don't want any type of run by or any tomfoolery with Zerglings coming up in my base. That would not work well at all for me. I did end up seeing the timing of the spawning pool, so I saw it was going to be a little delayed. Actually, it's going to be about where it should be, 14 supply. Come over here, start my little patrol, try to block off possible expansion that might be going down, and just delay that as long as I can. I'm moving back and forth with my probe. Same time I'm building units, building more supply and harvesters. A little dance me and this drone are doing, a little probe and drone dance. Now I ended up dropping my pylon because I figured I'd delayed it long enough. Delayed it for about 30 seconds or so, so I'm going to drop the pylon, delay it even further. And as you can see, he did raise up enough money, 300 minerals, so he was going to put an expansion in. I wisely do cancel my pylon because I know at this point in time, shortly then after, I would have some Zerglings going to destroy it, so I might as well get my minerals back and go from there. Same time, he actually does end up stealing my geyser up here. Not only does it prevent me from getting a second gas early, but it also makes me give him a little bit more scouting. I do, of course, have my gateway here and a little bit of a cybernetic score. I'm going to end up dropping a couple more gateways. I finally do grab this second assimilator so I can prevent him from doing any type of tricks again that way. And as you can see, he's working on his hatchery. Now at about 30%, 40% I should say, and it's going up from there. He at the moment is just working on getting a queen and of course some drones, so he's just droning up like crazy. Harvester count, I'm actually ahead 21 to 18. Partially is, the only reason really that is because of course I got my chrono boost, and I was chrono boosting out of a lot of probes here. I am chrono boosting out a little my gateway here just because I'm going to do a little bit of early attack. If you can put pressure on the Zergs, especially on this map pretty early, it'll work pretty well for you. Now, unfortunately, I did supply block myself right when I chrono boosted the Zealot, so I canceled the Zealot, dropped my pylon, and ended up dropping, of course, 2 more gates there. I actually got my robo facility going as well because I want to do some scouting, keep up with what he might be doing, and make sure he's not doing anything I'm not aware of. Now, he is banking on about 500 resources. It looks like he is solely focusing on drones at the immediate moment. At this point, you can see I'm still a little bit ahead, but it won't be too long before he gets this expansion up and running, and he'll have a lot more harvesters than I do. Keep in mind, too, he does have 2 bases, so more of his harvesters are being utilized, so his income should go up a little bit higher in just a moment here. I am, of course, working on warp gate technology. I'm not really focused on chrono boosting that out at the moment, just because I'm planning on doing a kind of early attack with Zealots and a couple sentries to help protect them, and we're going to go after that. So, do have 3 more Stalkers on the way, but I have 4 Zealots and a sentry, and I'm going to end up trying to put a little early pressure on, just to see what I can possibly do to him. Looks like he does actually have a spine crawler here that might trying to get that defense up before I get down there. And he actually wisely brings his Zergling over, so I forced to come over here and attack it. It actually slowed me down from getting to his base a little bit sooner, allowing for these spine crawlers to possibly get up a little sooner. Harvester count, as you can see, 25 to 28, so he's definitely got to be beat on the harvester count. And he's got 3 spines. This one's just about ready to get pop. I'm trying to, you know, of course, do as much damage as I can to it. Got my sentry here to get some Guardian Shield action going on. Pulling him back because they do try to focus the sentry down. And then I'm going to bring him back in to try to do some even more damage here. Now he does have 2, he does end up having 4, looks like 3 actually, roaches here. So I'm definitely going to have to pull back at this point. Do end up losing that 1 zealot. And looks like I lose another one, as a matter of fact. I think I just accidentally hit attack command instead of move command, or I could have easily ran away. But I do have an OBS here, so I'm seeing exactly what's going on. I see that he's not going for layer tech yet. He's only focusing on roaches and droning up for the most part. As you can see, I definitely lost a lot more than he did. 450 to 225 units. And it didn't work too well for me, but just trying to keep my cool and keep up with everything. If you look at the overall supply count down, 55 supply to his 54. I was a little bit ahead for a moment. And I'm going to get a couple of mortals here and see what I can't do there. Sending 2 Zerglings up, possibly trying to scout. Unfortunately, didn't see much aside from the wall he's already seen. But he did see the 1 immortal I have right here. So that does tell him a little bit that I'm going to have an immortal to counter his roaches. Now, army size, of course, is about identical. But for the most part, he's got almost twice. This lets go any further, almost twice the amount of harvesters. So he wisely drops yet another spine crawler. And, you know, if I just keep this going, then I'm definitely going to get overwhelmed because he's going to have so much income that there's almost nothing I can do about it. Now, I did catch a glimpse of these overlords over here. I'm going to come over here and pick a couple of these guys off. Grab the 1, and I'm going to grab this one right here as well. So I double supply blocking for a second. And then instead of pushing down here where I don't know where everything's at, I do decide to move around the side. And end up coming over here. I'll take out this 1 spine crawler, and I'm going to end up moving around the side here and try to do as much damage as I can. I know he's got a lot of harvesters, so I'm trying to get as many of these harvesters killed as possible. I unfortunately get my immortal block there. It doesn't work too well for me. And thankfully I am able to pick off a couple of those roaches. Now he does end up pulling his drones off. He's trying to stop me from moving away, but the drones are actually blocking his roaches from helping. So what I'm doing is I'm microing back and forth while I'm killing some of his drones. As you can see, I'm up here on the high ground. I'm going to kill more of the drones, as many as I can, just because they are an attack command. I'm going to be able to just do as much as I can to them. Now I'm just going to basically sit back. I mean, there's not much I can really do at this point. I can just kill as many as I can. And then, of course, he wisely brings whatever drones he had left back to his expansion here. Units lost tab. I am again way behind at this point. 1,300 minerals behind. But I do have my expansion up and running, so I'm going to start getting that saturated and go from there. Supply count 74 to 52. He definitely has a window right here where he could easily come back and maybe destroy this expansion or do it all in attack and probably finish me off. As you can see, my drones are finally transferring down here. I'm going to start saturating this up so I can catch back up on supply, because I know I'm way behind. Still has the 2 spines here and a decent amount of roach army. As you can see, he's going to work on clearing these rocks out and go for his 3rd expansion. About 12-minute mark, so he's definitely going to want to do that. He's banking on a lot of resources, so it's not like he couldn't afford that. At this moment, though, I'm just working on getting stalkers and immortals, because stalkers and immortals counter roaches for the most part. And at the same time, I'm keeping up with my scouting as much as I can. Of course, got this OBS hotkey to number 2. It just works the best for me for that reason. And just trying to go back and forth in terms of scouting and everything. Now, this is just preference for me. What I usually like to do is my main army, I do Alt 1. I start off with my OBS number 2, hotkey number 2. Eventually I turned it into hotkey number 3. And I put my casters, if I get some High Templars, I put those at hotkey number 2, and of course I have my OBS number 3. Warp gates number 4, and then usually Robo facilities number 5. Now I did catch a glimpse of these overlords moving out, as you can see, and then I'm going to end up coming in with my stalker army. Try to fly block them a little bit. There's 5 overlords here, so I'm able to pick this up. It's definitely good for me. And that also makes him force his cancellation on his expansion there. Now he does actually have an overseer over here in the corner, so he can possibly do some scouting or use the corruption facility, or contaminate ability, I should say. Players should use the contaminate ability more often. What it does is actually decreases for 30 seconds any production facility from doing anything. So if you did it on my Nexus, I couldn't build any workers. If you did it on the Robo facility, I can't upgrade for a little bit. And if you did it right here, I can produce units. So he actually uses Contaminate on my robotics base, so I won't be able to actually build any or upgrade my Colossus just yet to get that thermal lance. Units lost tab, I am actually caught up right now. Most of that was catching those 5 or 6 overlords off the top, and then of course the rest of it was from destroying that other one there. Now again, I got to keep up with looking at everything. So I got my observer here. I do see the banelings. I do see the infestors. So, you know, if he can do like a baneling drop on my units, he can definitely take a lot of them out. Or if I let these get in there, he'll just do a lot of damage to my units. Same time with the infestors, he can probably do fungal growth. Or if you look at it, he's actually researching neuroparasite. He saw my Colossus, so he wants to try to turn those Colossus against me by mind controlling them. He is working on upgrades, missiles level 2 and ground level 1. He's actually got an upgrade advantage on me at the immediate moment, attack +1. I'm just now dropping my double forges, so I'm going to work on upgrades myself. But I was more focused on getting the Colossus and Thermal Lance up because, again, I have my observer and I'm able to see exactly what's going on, so I'm not too worried about his unit composition. So I was just trying to grab a couple units that would counter what he had as opposed to upgrade right away. But I do not neglect my upgrades, as you can see, double upgrades. I love doing that, just makes things much easier when you do it that way. And it looks like he is getting I believe the Overlord drop. Oh, he's actually getting Overlord speed, so he can be able to move around the map a little bit sooner. Now he's got a very big army, 156 to 126. My supply is a lot lower than his. He's still on 2 base at the immediate moment, but he's about to have the 3rd up and going. And I did decide, of course, to finally move out. We've got 2 mortals in here, a lot of stalkers, and some, of course, zealots to be cannon fodder. I do actually, let's see, I do end up coming down here and engaging this. I do see there's a lot of units right there. I ended up force fielding right here, blocking some of the units off. I don't want those banelings to get in. Kind of over usage of the force fields there, but not too bad. I do actually have my observer following one of these banelings just because I don't want him to do anything in that regard. And because I can see where he's going, I do to try to cut off his units right here. Same time he is trying to take out my pylon and my 3rd expansion, or 2nd expansion I'm going to be putting down. But I'm going to try and come in here and clean the rest of this up. Now he does have 6 banelings. He's sending them straight to my mineral line. I don't have anything really here to protect them. I'm trying to warp in some stalkers to try to block the units. I do pull my probes away, but I end up losing 5 or 6 probes. Now, that's kind of a big deal, 5 or 6, but he lost 6 or 7 banelings. So I kind of came out even on that, at least I thought I did, so I wasn't too worried there. Unit stats, as you can see, is 41,000 to him. And if you look at workers killed, 16 to 14. So yeah, I've lost a little more, but I'm trying to hold in there and just kill what I can. Harvester count 46 to 51. Don't ever stop building this harvester.